Because if anybody wants to eat, then no one said they
You tell me what you want.
Pardon me?
You tell me what you want.
Just go ahead for whatever it comes first. Couple of ham sandwiches, a couple of chicken wings, and that's good enough.
She made Susie time to play too. Oh wow, look at that. That is so cute. I know that is one big fish.
Any formal comments prepared, but there were a couple of folks who would have loved to have been here and weren't able to be here this afternoon to wish Peggy the best. So they did send me a couple of just little thoughts. So I wanted to share those while most everybody was still here. And I'll wait until the end of it to say who it's from. Let's see. Mike, I first met Peggy and her husband John as clients on or about 1979. The first thing I loved about Peggy was her New York accent. Another Yankee in Rappahannock County. Seriously though, I want to say that as an attorney, I had the pleasure of working with Peggy for many years in her capacities as deputy clerk and later as clerk of the court. She always carried out her duties in a professional manner without favoritism or prejudice, which is what we hope to receive from all our public officials. At the same time, she was friendly and helpful, going out of her way to help those who were unfamiliar with the clerk's office and the land records. I wish Peggy a long and happy retirement. She deserves it for a job well done. Warm regards, Sharon Luke. Sharon and Peter are in Key West. Right? Yeah. The next one is, thank you, Mike, for advising me of the reception for Peggy. Unfortunately, Barbara is just recovering from COVID, so we are mostly trying to avoid contact with others, and for this reason, we think we should not come. That's disappointing because Peggy is one of my favorite people. I think she has done a wonderful job as clerk, and I know she will be greatly missed. Please give her our regrets and best wishes on her retirement. Shore Robertson. And then the last one is congratulations to Peggy for 41, or is it 42 years in the circuit court clerk's office. Peggy came to work as a part-time employee in 1981, and within 6 months was my full-time deputy, and there begins the story. Some years later, she told us that when she and her husband John brought in their deed for recordation, she saw how tiny and quiet our office appeared to be, and she told John that was the job she wanted. I think she thought we just sat and did crossword puzzles all day. Little did she know at that time that we were quietly putting people in jail, granting divorces, condemning land, burying the deceased, keeping election records, handing out gun permits, issuing passports, and occasionally, but rarely, doing crossword puzzles. And that we never went out to lunch. We ate at our desks, had no coffee breaks, and worked late frequently because customers had come from far away and we didn't want to turn them down. She did not know she would have to type on a manual typewriter, would get few vacations and rarely get a raise. Now, why would anyone want to stay in that job for more than 40 years? In the days before we had a county administrator, when the clerk's office also managed all of the work of the Board of Supervisors, one of Peggy's primary jobs, which continued after a county administrator was hired, was to analyze and pay all of the county's bills. Her organization and skill was quite extraordinary. As we all know, it was Peggy's loyalty and dedication and accuracy of work that is so remarkable. And she did that not just for me, but for all of the people of Rappahannock County. Peggy is the most generous and supportive friend a person could have. I knew when I had to be out of the office that I could depend on Peggy, who always did everything well and correctly. She cared about her work and she cared about the county. We are also fortunate that Peggy found Rappahannock County. Thank you, Peggy, for your loyalty and friendship and endurance. I am so proud to call you a friend. And now you get to leave us and go and enjoy your grandson. I wish you many years of happiness in your retirement. Diane Bruce.
Great grandson.
Great grandson.
Great grandson.
Yeah, I already have a grandson.
Yeah. And I know that Judge Parker, who was able to join us this afternoon, has, again, just a few words. So,
Not many words. It takes me so long to try to get to stand up in this chair that rather than have you watch me struggle and strain and groan, I'm going to remain seated if that's okay. And it's not by disrespect, but I have the greatest respect in the world for Peggy. It was a real thrill for me, a real great pleasure for me to be able to sit here, and of course in Fauquier. In fact, one of the reasons why I liked the status quo so much when I went on the bench was I got to be able to sit as the primary judge in Fauquier and in Rappahannock. Nothing against Loudon, but I knew they had plenty of folks up in Loudon that could go ahead and handle that well enough. They didn't need me, so I made sure that I stayed in Fauquier and Rappahannock. And it was just in large part because of the pleasure of working with Peggy. It was, I remember just almost without fail that after I finished my job for the day, I would go down and spend some time in the clerk's office and we just talk about the events that had transpired or were to come up in the future. So it was always a great pleasure, and I always left Rappahannock, left Washington with a smile on my face on my way back home, knowing that I had such pleasant people to work with and efficient. I never had any problems, never a harsh word. I couldn't understand some of these folks in other jurisdictions that did. They didn't have the good folks that I had the pleasure of working with. So I want to thank Peggy for her great assistance in helping me do my job, and I'm sure it'll continue. That tradition will continue in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
My turn.
You promised you wouldn't say what happened at those clerks conventions.
Isn't that like a legal thing to do those things?
You need to turn that recorder off. Hey, you reporter, turn it off. I'm Gail Barb. I'm a fellow clerk, friend of Peggy's from Fauquier. Peggy and I have known each other many, many years. We've been friends for many, many years. And yes, we used to be able to see one another at the clerks' conventions, but I will tell you, there were many clerks' conventions that I went to that Peggy was not able to go to because she was in a three-person office. It's not always easy to get away when you're a three-person office. So there were a lot of opportunities that Peggy wasn't able to take advantage of. Education, camaraderie with fellow clerks that she wasn't able to take and be a part of because she was back home doing a good job with what she needed to do on a daily basis. So, Peggy, we're going to miss you, but you're only a phone call away, and we would love to keep in touch, and we love you dearly. And Rappahannock County is losing a great clerk, but I know that your staff will keep pushing forward and doing a good job, just like you and Diane always did. And
Have a job for me?
as long as you're going to get paid, yeah. Volunteer.
I don't care. I'll call you.
I got a great job for you, so come on down. So,
I've got room in my office, we'll sit you right up.
that's right. Peggy's good people, I know you all know that, so here, Peggy.
there aren't any other prepared comments. Peggy, was gracious enough to allow us to have this small function, this afternoon. So we didn't have any other major comments prepared. Do you want to say anything? We'll address everything.
The only thing I can say to all of you is that my coming to Rappahannock and starting this part-time job in 1981 was probably one of the most important things in my life. I valued every minute of it, and I still do. Circumstances and age and all those things come into play. I would stay here till I died, which was supposed to be the way it was going to happen. Diane and I had made a pact. We were going to drill a hole in front of our desks, and when we died, our ashes would be put in. It might still happen, you never know. Be ready with the drills. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. You've been wonderful friends and mentors, confidants. Anything that a person would need is here in this room with us. I thank my son for always being here. He's here with me. He is my right and left hand and does everything for me. If I can ever do anything for any one of you, please call me, because I would be more than willing to help out any way I could. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this wonderful thing. And Mike, just because you're my middle son, don't mean you can do this often. Mike is my middle son. I've always called him that. I have a younger son, I have Mike, and I have an older son. And they are all wonderful. So thanks again, and that's all I need to say.
There's plenty more food, plenty more drink, please. Enjoy it. Yes. Lots of cake and everything. I'm gonna have a piece.
She's gonna be doing.
I know I have to take it down.